Today we have the defending national champion and coach of the year, Drew Stutts, and we're going to talk Freed Hardeman Lion basketball. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Today we have Drew Stutts. He's the head men's basketball coach. Freed Hardeman, they are the Lions. They play there in the Mid-South. Of course, they're defending national champions, but you already know that. They really had quite the run there in Kansas City. They played the Masters in that round of 16, 1-point win. That was one of the better games of the tournament. And then Central Baptist, one of the surprise teams of the tournament, Freed Hardeman beat them. And then they had to play Grace. Everybody agrees one of the top teams in the country, beat them by 5. And then, of course, that barn burner against a super talented Lakeston team where they made that last 40-second comeback. So they really had to work for the national championship. But, you got to get out the chalkboard and do it all again. And that's what he's doing. He's lost a couple of guys to transfer, as you know, went off to D1 schools. But he's also got a good group of returners coming back, a core group. And he's brought in a couple of good, strong transfers to fill in some needs. They're going to be big, and they're going to be strong, and they're going to really be able to shoot the ball. Why don't we listen to Drew Stutts, head men's basketball coach, Freed Hardeman, Lions. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Drew Stutts, Freed Hardeman, Lions. Boy, I stuttered there. I was trying to remember your mascot there for a second. Caught myself. I'm doing good. Hey, thank you so much for taking, you and I had to go back and forth a couple times, but we finally picked out a good time. Coach, defending national champion, coach of the year, boy, no expectations.
Well, expectations are whatever you place on yourself.
That's true.
But we're super excited about, last year's success and, how much fun it was and what a blessing it was to find a way to win and a lot of great memories. But, in reality, this is a new year and a new team and, ready to turn the page and get this season started here in a couple of weeks. Before
we look ahead, looking back at last year, just a couple guys I want to bring up. One guy I was really impressed with was Hunter Skurlock. He was a senior for you guys, an older guy who really was a glue guy and a go-to guy when you needed a bucket. He really, talk about what he meant to your program.
Man, he's been unbelievable. As soon as I got the job, the very first day I went out recruiting, Hunter Skurlock was one of the players that I worked out and offered. And he's been here with me for 5 years. And, just great human being. Just great young man. It's been great to see him mature and grow. Very involved family. He went to Goodpasture High School in Nashville, which is, just about 2 hours from us. So his family's been at, most all of our home games throughout the years. And, but Hunter, he's just grown as a person first, but obviously as a basketball player as well. And, the cool thing about Hunter is, as far as basketball goes, he has started at every position except point guard. And 2 years ago, we had a point guard get injured, and it was a national tournament game, and Hunter wound up playing point guard in that game for like 12 or 14 minutes of that game. So, he's played point guard to center and just been the ultimate, you use the word glue guy, but as far as just being able to play basically any position on the court, he's been the best defensive player in our league 2 or 3 years in a row now. Just great intangibles and great basketball IQ. But he's a guy that we're going to miss having around on the court and off. But what an incredible year, and couldn't be prouder and happier for him and the success that he had while he was here, because he is one of those guys that truly earned it and just improved every year.
The play I'll always think of when I think of Hunter Skurlock is toward the end of that Langston game for that championship. You remember those last 3 minutes that just nobody could score, just a total defensive battle. And somehow Hunter got underneath and somehow he got that ball up and in, and it was one of the biggest buckets of his life. It was really a key bucket. I'll just never forget that because nobody could score, but he was able to get it
Sure.
in the bucket. You've had a
Sure.
couple other guys who've taken some other opportunities, but boy, they really delivered for you there at Freed Hardeman last season. Talk about Quan Lax, who's now at Austin Pay, and then J.J. Weiss down at South Alabama.
Yeah, both, obviously incredible seasons last year. Jaquan came in here as a freshman and redshirted his first year. But then, back to back, really good years. Great kid, great competitor, strong, tough. Couldn't be happier for him as far as moving on and pursuing a great opportunity in Austin. JJ Wheat, been here with us for 2 years as well. Great scorer, really good athlete. Think you'll have a chance to do some big things at South Alabama. So hate to see those guys go, but, super excited for them, the opportunity that they have created for themselves and what they were able to accomplish here and the type of teammates they were. I hope that they can just take some of what they learned here and apply it to the new opportunities they have this year. And, I expect for them to both have big roles and do well at those new spots, but they'll be missed. But thankful for the time that we spent here and what we were able to accomplish.
Coach, I was teasing with a friend of mine the other day. I said J.J. Wheat got popped around so much in Kansas City, he decided he better go play D1 ball. It was a rough tournament, wasn't it? He got every time he went to the rim, man, he got clobbered every game.
Well, he's good at drawing that contact as well. If you go to the stat sheet, he got to the free throw line pretty often. So
yeah, quite a few times.
At times it was JJ looking for that contact. But it was a physical tournament, and we probably prefer it to be that way, honestly. But no, he'll do big things at South Alabama.
You've been in practice almost 2 weeks now, something like that. Yeah. So what is the mood of the team? I mean, they're coming back. They're national champions. They know some pieces are different. Kind of where would you say is the state of the team right now? It's always hard to bring a national champion back and get them ready.
Yeah, well, I think some of what we just talked about is going to make that a little bit easier for us. I think if you had, a very similar team coming back, if Hunter was coming back and JJ and Quan both were coming back, I think the challenge would be different than it is now in that, we still got, a handful of guys, 5-6 guys that played key roles on last year's team. But then we've got a surge of, incoming freshmen or a couple transfers that are going to come in. And those guys are bringing a different level of hunger in that, they want to taste a little bit of what we did last year. And so, it's a little different. It's not the exact same team by any means, but we do have enough of those guys that had that experience last year that we can feed off of that and learn from it. But mood's been great. Committed to the culture is one of the hashtags and things that we talk about. And I feel like in the off season, we did a really good job identifying guys that fit our culture well. And to be honest with you, it's been, as far as culture goes, just a seamless transition. And guys have come in and bought into the things that we value here. And so I'm excited for the progress that we've made. Obviously, any coach at this point, 2 weeks into the season, you have a whole lot to learn and a whole lot to work on. But, excited for where we're going and the progress that we're making. But, still a long ways to go as far as getting to the point that we're going to need to get to compete for a national championship.
You got a guy coming back from Calhoun, Georgia. He's just a warrior. Peyton Law. His game is some kind of special. I met him and I got to know him back there, and I love to watch that guy play.
Yeah, he is an ultimate competitor. I mean, he definitely embodies our culture and our team and what we value because he's that way every day. It's just who he is. It's not a show. It's not something he does on game day. If you show up on a Friday afternoon or a morning that we've got workouts, he's the same guy day in and day out. And, just great competitor. Last year was a little hobbled. He had a broken hand for the last 8 weeks of the season.
Oh, that's right.
So battled through some of that and, still the value he brought to our team was great enough that we kept him out there on the floor even through that, and played through a lot of pain at the end of the season last year. But yeah, love Peyton Law. I mean, just an absolute warrior is a great word to use, and I'm expecting.
You got a couple other returners. I know Riley McLaren's coming back. He's a pretty good shooter. He had a really good tournament last year. And then Sam Powell, Phil Horton. So you've got a pretty good core coming. Talk about the core you got coming back, and then we'll talk about some transfers you picked up.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, Riley, he was the guy that actually missed about half the season last year. He had an injury that had just been nagging him, and he's been playing extremely well in the preseason. He's healthy. Has gained a little bit of more strength in the off season, but obviously a guy that's a fifth-year guy that has a ton of experience in our system and just on the court. And then you got guys like Sam and Phil, who were, backup players last year, but played really well in the tournament. You got Geraldo Lane. He'll be a guy that'll be a senior, who I expect to have a big year as well. So, I mean, we got a really good core group of guys that are coming back. And then, a couple transfers we brought in, and really good high school guys as well. So, I'm excited to see how this team meshes and comes together. And, so far so good here in the preseason, but it's going to be fun just because it's a new challenge. I mean, it's a new team with new pieces. Seeing how those guys come together and play well and finding those right combinations with personnel. It's always something on the coaching side that's fun to do. And I'm liking our team at this point.
Sam Powell, he shot the leather off the ball in Kansas City. Probably some people thought it was a little bit of a fluke, because he's a big guy, 6'7", but he shot 42% on season. I mean, he was just playing Sam Powell basketball, wasn't he?
Yeah, Sam's going to shoot 4%. He's a guy you can't leave open, and he's got great range. I mean, I'm comfortable with him taking a three from, 6 or 8 feet behind the three-point line. If he's in rhythm and his shoulders are square, we're good with that shot. He shot it really well last year in the national tournament, but I would not say that I was surprised.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of confidence. Him and Phil Horton both shoot the ball with a lot of conviction and confidence, and I encourage that, and I think that's one of the reasons those guys hit some of those big shots and big moments, was because of the belief they had in themselves. And so, yeah, expecting big things from Sam. His body's continuing to develop, and so, he's gotten bigger and stronger in the off season, but shooting the ball really well and defending well in the preseason. But excited about him and Phil and the experience they had last year and taking on a little bit bigger role this year for our team.
You picked up a guy out of the Sun Conference, Mekhi Vassell?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He had a really good season at Southeastern it wasn't last year. He played there 2 years, right? Didn't he play at South? Yeah.
No, he was there last year.
Last year. Okay, it was Jordan that was at 2 years at Cumberland. I'm sorry about that. So Mekhi was second team all Sun. He's another guy shoots the leather off the ball, 39%. And he's a strong rebounder. He had 191 rebounds last season, the Sun Conference. That's a big pickup with some of the guys you've had transfer.
Yeah, he's a guy that comes in with 1 year left, and so a lot of experience playing at different levels, and really just fits us really well because he's a long, athletic guy, can defend any position on the floor. Honestly, he's a different player than Hunter Skurlock, but similar in that just a lot of versatility, and he could play 1 through 5 for us depending on the lineup that we throw out there on the floor. But yeah, guy that is probably a better scorer than Hunter was, a little bit more of a pure scorer. I think he averaged maybe 14 and 7 last year at Southeastern. So excited for him. He has been a really good fit for us. I expect him to be a great defender, to be able to score and rebound the ball. And then you brought up Jordan Stevens, who was a former All-American at Cumberland, Tennessee here. And, he's a guy averaged 17, 18 in his last season at Cumberland. And, big, strong, 6'4", 6'5", strong body that can shoot it and score it. And so, losing a couple of those guys that we mentioned early on, knew that we needed to bring in a little bit of experience, some guys that could help us score the ball as well. And yeah, I mean, excited for some new blood and some guys that can step in and help us. But that's the thing. Our defense is what we're going to lean on, and it's what we expect to be consistent, and that we're going to do well night in and night out. And last year probably we're not able to stretch the floor as well as what I would traditionally like to. But I feel like this year's team, offensively is just going to be a little more versatile, and that there's going to be nights that we can really score the ball, and got a lot of guys this year that can shoot it, where in the past, we were pretty reliant to the basket.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year it's going to complement things better offensively, where we can get to the basket, but we can also shoot the long ball a little better this year.
Yeah, just looking at your lineup, you'll have shooters all over the floor. And I completely stepped over Geraldo Lane, and I apologize to him, but he's coming back as well. He had a good season for you last year, so that experience is going to be really important, isn't it?
It will. Geraldo, last year set a single season record for field goal percentage. Finished, I don't know exactly what the number was, but close to 65% from the field. And has really continued to work on his game and develop his game. So yeah, I mean, Geraldo's, he'll be a team captain and a great player for us again this year.
So before you get into that Mid-South, I was looking at your schedule. You didn't shy away from anybody. You're going to play Central Baptist twice, aren't you?
Yeah, we got Central Baptist home and away. I mean, that's a Elite Eight team. We got Arizona Christian Elite Eight team.
Southeastern, yeah.
We got Southeastern. We got Kaiser. We got Life. We got Tougaloo, who was a tournament team. I think we'll probably have 10 or 11 out of our 16 non-conference games that will be against teams that will be in the national tournament. And then, of course, playing our Mid-South schedule is always tough. A lot of depth in our league, even though it's a smaller league than it has been in the past. But, obviously the top teams coming back are Georgetown and Cumberland's Kentucky. But, even beyond that, your Lindsey Wilsons and Campbellsville's and some of those teams always, well coached and got a lot of talent. So, that's something I've always believed in, is in playing a tough schedule. And I think it's how you develop a program and how you develop a team. And you want to be challenged. We could probably be a team that could schedule 15 or 16 non-conference wins and, go into conference play looking really good. But, I'm not scared of taking a few losses and being challenged by some really good teams. I think over the course of the season, you need those things. And, at the end of the day, you hope that it prepares you in a lot of different styles of play, and having already played some of the best teams.
Yeah, you're going to see some great programs, some great coaches. I have a question about Central Baptist. I talked to Sam Conkey a couple weeks ago, and he was mentioning that they were going to play the home and home with you. And, I said, how'd that come about? He says, well, Coach and I just got to know each other after the game. Coach, I hear that quite often from coaches that I go, how'd you get to know so-and-so? And he goes, oh, well, after we played in the tournament, we got to be friends. And is that fairly common? I seem to hear that a lot.
I think it just depends on personalities. I think certain coaches are more apt to want to, share and talk with others. And then there's guys that are a little more private. But, Sam's did a great job last year in building that program at Central Baptist. And, Scott Moore, he and I wound up after the season being at the same place a couple times. And I really enjoyed some of my conversations with him. He's a great Christian man, really good coach as well. And so, it's always fun to connect and get to know some of these guys and lean on each other and talk about some of our experiences. And so, that's something I enjoy. I wish it probably happened a little more often than it does. But anytime you have a chance to connect with other great coaches at our level, it's something I've enjoyed doing.
There's ups and downs to having 16 in Kansas City. This debate rages and rages. But one of the downsides is not as many coaches and fans can get together. But
sure.
It does make for, you don't have the 16-hour days either. So there's definitely two sides to that coin.
Yeah.
Fans at Freed Hardeman, obviously great fans, incredible university. You and I were talking before we started. You have the great honor to coach with your sister who coaches the women's. Just talk about Freed Hardeman and what it means to your family and to you personally.
Yeah, well, just the opportunity to get into college basketball, was given to me by Mike McCutcheon when this job came open. He was the athletic director, and for them to take a chance on me as a young head coach that, had little to no college experience, something I'll forever be appreciative of. But I mean, Freed-Hardeman is just a unique place in that it's in a small town. It's a Christian college, and that fits me well. My dad's a minister, and so we moved around a decent amount whenever I was younger. So I had a chance to be in public and private settings as far as throughout my junior high and high school school. And it's not for everybody, but for the people that it is for, it's a great place, and that's something that rings true as I am recruiting is, this place is not for everybody, but man, if it's for you, it couldn't be any better, And you mentioned our fan base. I mean, our fan base last year, I mean, we probably had, I don't know, 400 or 500 people who made an 8-hour trip in a span of 24 hours, finding out that we were going to be in the national tournament. It was during our spring break. So them just altering the plans that said and making the trip to come up there and, winning it, period, is going to be exciting. But winning it when you have that many people there that you've come to build relationships with. And, our baseball team was able to make the trip last year, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, this is just a great place. It really fits me well, with it being a small town and, a smaller school. I think we have 2,000 kids roundabout on campus. But great place for me. It's been really good for me and my family, and, looking forward to continue building, on some of the success that we've had here.
Tell us how your son's game's coming. Everybody who watches you knows your son's a bit of a basketball junkie.
Yeah, Deacon is he's 9 years old, so he just spends a lot of time in the gym right now. We don't do any kind of real organized basketball or anything.
Well, that's kind of good. Let him enjoy the game.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it, and that's not to knock anybody that's doing it any differently, but I want him to be a kid as long as he can be a kid and just enjoy the game. And, one day, hopefully down the line, if he wants to pursue playing at a higher level, that'll be fine. But yeah, Deacon, love him. He obviously had a great time and has the last couple of years, Kansas City, but it's really cool. Him being a part of our practices and being part of our team, and, to have a team that I feel comfortable with him learning and growing from.
Absolutely,
he is in the locker room and on the bench and a part of everything that we do. And but yeah, he is, I would say he's just a competitive junkie, might be a better way of describing him, because if it's math strips in school, or it's some kind of reading contest, or it's basketball, or it's football, whatever he can compete in, he wants to compete in. He probably gets that from me a little bit. But,
I love it.
I don't know what he's going to be, but he'll be something special.
Coach, 2 weeks until you throw the ball up in the air. October 25th, you're going to lead off against, who is it, Oakwood. So what are going to be the keys in the next couple weeks to get you guys ready to play?
Well, without revealing too much, we got to get healthy and we got to stay healthy. That's one of the things that you're always battling this time of year, is just being sure that, you stay healthy and you get the right people on the floor. But, we're just taking it one day at a time right now. And, we got a lot of guys learning our system and our style of play. And, you can't speed that process up. And so whatever that looks like come October 24th, 25th, that'll be fine. But, we're wanting to play our best basketball in January, February, March. And so whatever those necessary steps are for us to grow, whether that means success early in the season or failure, we're just going to try to show up every day in practice and in games and be the best team that we can be. And I think if we just stay with that long-term vision in mind and being great in the here and now, but knowing that this thing is a process. And if we do that, I think come, January, February, I think we could have a pretty good team.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know it's a really busy time of the year for you right now. You're trying to get the team ready, but thanks a lot for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, and, really enjoyed getting to talk to you and get to know you more last year at Kansas City, and hope we have the opportunity to do that again this coming year.
Yeah, and we'll have to get you back on when you get in the thick of that Mid-South race. That's going to be a war. So It'll get, you talked about your son being competitive. Well, it's going to get a lot more competitive real quick here.
It will. It absolutely will.
Okay, that's Coach Drew Stutts. He's the head men's basketball coach, Freed Hardeman. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Also, please like and subscribe this show wherever you watch or listen to it. It helps a lot. And if you have a question you'd like answered on the show, just send me a note at cascadehoopstalk@gmail.com or just shoot me a DM on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy your day. We'll see you next time. Yours truly, Billy D. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAI school because NAI basketball is the best entertainment value in America.